My name is Benjamin Nockels. I'm a co-owner and managing partner of Commonplace Books. So when we began dreaming about a new independent bookstore here in Oklahoma City, it didn't take us too long to settle on Midtown as the place that we wanted to plant our flag and call home. And we began to kind of survey the urban core and all of the different things that are taking place as far as renewal and redevelopment goes. We looked at Midtown and saw it as unique and distinct, and that really it was, it went first. So Midtown Renaissance began buying up properties and redeveloping them here, far in advance of, what we're seeing here today in 2017. So they were 20 years out in front of everybody else, and so the development and the maturity that had already kind of gone into this district specifically was one that we wanted to build upon. So when we thought about where can we most naturally integrate into kind of the fabric of people's daily lives, we felt like we could do that here in Midtown best. A favorite author and also a fellow indie bookstore owner, Ann Patchett. She has this wonderful essay that I would recommend people check out called "The Bookstore Strikes Back." And she essentially combats the myth that reading is dead and that print is dead. And the numbers show that over the last 6 to 8 years, indie bookstores are on the rise, both in terms of the number of them across the country and also in terms of their profitability. To be honest, we're not even trying to compete with the Barnes & Noble of the world, the half-price books of the world. We're certainly not trying to compete with Amazon, because while they may have the best algorithms ever, we think we have more to offer than a simple algorithm. We think that people matter, that the conversations that we're able to have with them matters, that we're going to be able to offer a better recommendation, a better, more thoughtful recommendation than any algorithm ever will. And so for us, this isn't about selling books at the end of the day. It's about connecting with people. And we feel like that books are a very powerful medium to do just that. So when we decided to name the bookstore Commonplace Books, we did so for a couple of reasons. The easy and obvious is we want this to be a commonplace. We want this to be a place for the community and by the community. This is not an act of ego or individualism. This is a joint effort through and through, from our partnership to the owners to the curation of the titles. This is a community-wide endeavor, and this is the community's bookstore, so we want it to be that commonplace. One of the things that we are trying to do is reimagine the way that books are categorized and thus presented to the reader. So what you will not find are your typical sections of fiction, nonfiction, young adult, biography, history, kids. All of those kinds of titles will be here in the store, but again, they'll be reimagined in terms of how they're organized and presented to the reader. Because what that allows us to do is give people books and titles that they can self-identify with. So if you think about, one of our sections will be called The Achiever. And that will house books that are geared towards the person who self-identifies as an achiever. So that word achiever doesn't necessarily describe the kinds of books, it describes the kind of person that might be inclined to read along certain lines. We're moving not far from here to 1325 North Walker at the bottom of the Edge, which houses upwards of 500 residents right on top of us. So we're really excited to be a part of the Edge community as well as Midtown as a whole. We'll be in a couple thousand square feet. So right now you see probably about 1,000 titles here in the pop-up. In the permanent location, we'll have upwards of 6,000 to 8,000 titles. So the inventory will grow quite significantly. But what won't change is the careful curation of the titles. So this is not a bookstore that you can walk in and find just anything and everything. But this is a bookstore that we feel like you could essentially walk in, close your eyes, pick out a book, and it will be meaningful, it will be thoughtful, and hopefully thought-provoking and life-changing. So we pride ourselves in the curation of the titles. These are authors that we know about, these are titles we believe in, these are books that we can make a wholehearted and confident recommendation that you read, and it'd be worth your time, effort, energy, and money, quite frankly. So we want the experience at the bookstore to be communal in nature. So for us, books don't isolate, they bring together. And reading is not something that allows us to escape life. Reading is something that pulls us deeper into more and better life. So this is not an act of escapism for us. This is not an act of isolation. This is an act of bringing the community together and doing so around books.